Hmm. Oh boy. The dreaded nightmare of drawing flowers. Hmm. Honestly, I have no idea where to start with this. Like, hmm. Should we do a... Maybe we'll do a pointism? A pointism composition? Because... Holy heck. No. Hmm. Ooh. I can also do a background foreground thing. Alright. Okay. Alright. I have this image in mind, but holy heck. Okay, so I have 3 hours to finish this. This is where I'm going with here. Oh, that's not a good... That's not good. Okay. I need to put a frame on this or else I'm not gonna be able to see the edges. Better. Okay. Alright. So let's try making one first. Where do you even start? Flowers are so complicated. Alright. Let's see. Let's say like we want to roughly guess we'll change the size as we're going. Let's say center of the flower is like here. We have to approach this differently. Let's use a different layout. So let's do roughly the line shape. The center of the flower is about going to be this big. Then this is gonna be weird. We're just gonna straight up. I don't know how to do line work for flowers. That's alright. Well, let's just give it a go. See the edges. Yeah, man. Alright, so say this is the center. Honestly, it just looks like a mess. There are just so many shapes, dude. I guess you can like attempt is to, so you have these little things that gives you kind of like a ruffle thing. Then you have larger petals that aren't looking like these petals. Right? This center part is I don't even know how you do this part. There's just a lot of little maybe I could cheat and I don't know how to do the center one. Maybe I'll just color like Maybe I'll find some sort of this middle part is going to be really hard with all the ruffles. I don't really know how to do ruffles in that fine confined space. We get the just try to find the larger petals. Define the larger petals. And then this stuff is like I think we can get away with just uniform wobbly lines in one direction, maybe. This is going to be reliant so heavily on color. Oh, okay. It looks like a mess right now, but I guess it's hard to... Not entirely sure if I'm even getting... Flowers are so chaos. Chaos of perspective. The question is, am I gonna draw a bunch of these? I don't know if I'm up for the task of drawing a bunch of these. Just stuck with the simplified, some simplified versions. All right, see where I. Okay. It's like a gigantic mess, but I think it's forgiving enough. I think the prompt I use is a little. Alright. It's not going to be necessarily a bouquet, I guess. I'm only going to draw 4 of these. Because I can see the opportunity for some pretty decent contrast. Alright. Let's just call this F1. Try another. Let's try another one. It'll be down here. So there's an opportunity to mess with perspective here. Okay. This one's like facing like flat. After I do this, I'll probably get like a better idea of some of the repeated patterns I can do to simplify and cut corners. Or not really cut corners, but just simplify to make it look a little like less messy. It's like a bunch of layers on top of each other, I guess. We're gonna have to eyeball these shapes, and then I'll probably add like, so probably just intuit the curves. Just at this point, I'm just blocking out where my like rims are. Just trying to get where I think the edges are gonna be. Start with the edges, refine the shape as I'm going. I don't know what kind of flower this is I'm looking at, but it's like its petals are very okay. I kind of get it. I see. This has officially become like a war a Warshock thing. What do you see in this blob? What do you see in this blob? I'm trying to get like the perspective, like what's on top and what's on bottom. So I'm like drawing from top to bottom in the object because it has like so many little like petals that are on top of each other. So I'm kind of like going for this one's a lot easier. This side is a lot easier because it's going from right to left and top to bottom, or like on top and on to the bottom. All right. May not look like flowers yet, but I promise it's flowers are weird. They're very complicated. Way more complicated than people who simplify it would suggest. So I guess I can merge the. Alright, so we're gonna attempt. It kind of looks like a pile of leaves at the moment. Okay. And we're gonna attempt another element up here. Ooh. I gotta make the at least a somewhat effort to make it look like there are a bouquet of flowers. Okay. And this is like dead on. Let's start from the closest object. I gotta do blind drawing. Alright. So I can't keep snapping back and forth. I have to do the... I feel like this is also one of the reasons why I wouldn't technically use a screened tablet, because I'm already like looking back and forth a lot. Trying not to look back and forth too much. This is a skill that I wasn't particularly very good at when I was younger. I forgot what this is called, but it's some people practice this in the beginning where you like blind draw. But man, I do not blind draw with confidence, that's for sure. Oh no, I went too high. Okay. I know how to. This flower is... no, it is bigger. Okay. Not too bad. I'm most definitely gonna take a poetic license on just making up my lighting for this. Maybe I won't even try lighting. I'll just try to like get the coloration right. Okay. It's kind of pretty amazing how just random just lines next to each other kind of start looking like flowers when you're trying to... If I keep telling someone this is a bunch of flowers together, they're like, yeah, I can see it, but it also looks like a pile of garbage. All right. Maybe I shouldn't have. I need to shrink this a little bit. I have this habit of making things a little bit bigger than I see them. We're trying to balance the composition by eyeballing. Okay. Okay. We are no way in heck we are gonna attempt to do multiple passes of this. Like maybe like 3 times, not like 6 or anything. It's just gonna be this loose. I do not have the confidence. I'm just wildly, at this point, I'm just like wildly guessing how I'm gonna even. Just amorphous blob, just to just like give some form to this. All right, fair enough. And then I'll do the background. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Now we take some poetic license, right? So how do I? Right. I wonder how this. I use a fine liner. Idea. So we're just gonna finagle a little. Let's just loosely just use. Okay. I can do this. So that's what we're gonna do. Do what I do best, I guess. Do my, just fan it out. It's my favorite motion. Now we're like super departing from the reference. Now I'm just doing like what I feel is just aesthetically pleasing for curves. this is F2. Probably like F2 back. So we'll just put like B. Yeah, the back we won't have to do. We won't have to try too hard on the. Fortunately, I guess for me, my usual preferred type of line work tends to be okay for drawing petals. Quite good at it. This is totally going off script, but you know. I feel like I have a pretty okay sense of capturing the nice elements of flowers. Hopefully. It's gonna be a nightmare to color though. We'll do like, we'll simplify it. Like certain things are gonna be in front, certain things are gonna be back, just so that the color separation is there. Make coppers. Alright. They kinda look like flowers right now. Kind of. Only kind of. A lot of lines, but I think my natural hand strokes fit petals very well. All right, we gotta do S2. So this part is kind of Monka-esque still. I don't know what I want to do about this. So we want to be sharp here. like very thin lines. Perspective be darn. I have no idea about perspective. We're just gonna... Alright. Good enough. We're doing 2 today, so I'm gonna be working on this up till midnight, and then we're gonna do tomorrow's as well, which I don't know what tomorrow's prompt is. So, 2 for the price of 1 today. Alright. So, there is another element left, but just get to painting. Hoo ha ha. Alright. Go out and in, out and in. We're just gonna... Alright. So first... Oh no. The dread. Okay. Okay, we're gonna do the opposite approach this time. So we're gonna go until we can get a spectrum. We're gonna get so that we still can get still red or still like purple, but the highest end is near white. And the darkest end is still a noticeable purple. And we're gonna use that range. Alright. Okay. Alright. Single layer blocking today. So we're gonna try to do this all on a single layer. And pretend like we're actually good painters. Today I'm gonna pretend like I'm a good painter. Oh, and I guess I can start doing this as a habit. I don't do this as a habit either, so let's wait a minute. Start developing new habits. Okay. All right. Well, let's get to work. We'll do one element at a time today. Magic. We're done. That's it. The prompt's done. Done with coloring. That's it. That would be kind of funny actually if there's some image just like this. All right. All right. We're only gonna do 2 stages. We're not doing gradients today. I always tend to. I have a habit of avoiding gradients because oh no. Alright, let's visualize this for a moment. Oh no. It's really hard to visualize. Okay. So how I do it is we step up, right? So we'll make it directional. Directional is where we're going here. If we keep it directional, it'll look like we have the full spectrum of complementary colors. So instead of doing like realistic stuff where like there's stuff that's curling up and stuff that's in the other direction, I guess we'll see if I'm able to do that. Maybe I'll change like one of the leaflets, invert them. But for now, as a rule of thumb, we're gonna make it directional. Basically, I'm picturing each petal individually, and it's brighter. It's brighter near the tips. Of the petals. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ignore the idea that the lighting is gonna impact the thing. I might do a lighting pass, but for now, this is gonna take a really... We're taking a very generic approach. Oh, right. I'm doing one layer, so... Okay. We're not doing gradients today, so we're not gonna do that. Son of a bee sting? Oh no. I lost my original volume. Uh-oh. Where was it at? I guess we can use this volume and we can just step up while doing it. Hopefully it's not too crazy. Okay. I think I know what I'm gonna do after this. Okay, so the flower also has the difference between the outside. The petals facing the outside are lighter than the petals facing the inside. Or like the inside of the petal is darker than the outside. Maybe I should have started with that. Okay, let's. All right, take two. So let's pick 2 volumes, right? This looks like a pretty good volume. Oh, I need it so that it's not too much that I can still get non-white when I step up. Actually, when I step up halfway, probably. No, you like this? All right. And then we want to color a part. We think the back of the flower is exposed. This will give it like another dimension, I guess. Might as well pick a few. Maybe this way it'll be a little bit easier. All right. So we have the volumes of those, right? And then now we want to something that gives us the full range, but where the high end, the white end is substantially not white. Something like this. Way off script at this point. Okay. All right. So now we got the 2 base volumes, which we'll leave like this. And then now we apply the gradient, or not the gradient, but the step up. And this is not like the flower. I don't think the flower actually does this. I just think it's very pleasant looking. So we're just gonna do this because I think it's pleasant looking. One might even say it's my stylistic choice, I guess. It's generally my style, so and then we go blasted. Then all right. And now let's do this one. Need to enhance our brush. Enhance. Okay, maybe a little too enhanced. You know, purple to pink is a very... Maybe I'm warming up to purple into pink. A really soft color. Okay. And I think that's okay for color block right now. So now we gotta do the others. Alright, so get to it. No running from responsibilities. Alright. So, in contrast, okay. Okay. Let's get to it. Nothing to it but to do it. Alright. Oh, there's no, right, no boundaries. Honestly, I have no idea where this connects. We'll think about that later. Okay. We're probably just gonna color this, the in-between, like super dark or something. I don't know. I have no idea where I'm going with that yet. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Same difference, but way more complicated. This is like, it's very interspersed. So, all right. Okay. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it look like it is in the scene or not. That'd be kind of hard. A little bit beyond the scope of this. We'll see. There's still a background that I'm considering. What? Oh, wait, what? Did I not select this? I'm slightly cheating this way, doing it this way. It makes it gives directionality to chaos, and that's kind of a thing that I do a lot. So it might seem like all the petals are like in a pointing in a different direction, or like it might seem like there's no order to things. So I tend to use my color a lot of times to give it direction. Like the petals could be just like amorphous blobs, but because of the way the colors are stacked to each other, you kind of just intuit which direction the petals are facing, even though my line drawing could make absolutely no sense. So you know, at least like in this way, it always looks like the petals are fanning out as opposed to having no direction whatsoever. So I could have drawn like any types of squigglies. If you can use your coloration, you can probably direct the eyes in a direction that things are facing. Okay. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna do lighting today. This is good enough for... I don't think I'm gonna get to it. Okay. Drawing anything, I feel like drawing anything that has like tons of repeated patterns is monk ass. Like the elegance of these like still life, the elegance of the still life is that there are a lot of repeated elements, and when they're stacked next to each other, they look fantastic. It kind of reminds me of, there's this like I forgot what this, it's a Hindi style or like an Indian style where they would draw like tons of like lines on top of each other, like elements on top of each other in like a very balanced circular form. You know, the patterns tend to like decorate walls, buildings, and whatnot. A lot of artistry to do that by hand. I probably just use math, just vector the thing. Can't do that. Too well. Dang you. I didn't check the barrier on that. Okay. All right. Progress is being made. All right. Oops. Okay, maybe I'm a little too ambitious. Maybe I'll save the other prompt for tomorrow. I didn't want to do it late tomorrow, but I feel like I'm gonna end up being exhausted after finishing this. Hey Josh, what's up? Hurts every time they write good written Chinese. Wait, hurts every time they write good written required? Looking for job. Oh, okay. I see. Okay. Did you get a response back? Are you going in for an interview or something? Wait, what happens if oh, okay. That's not how that works. All right, got it. Good enough. No response. Also immediately got rejected by Disney yesterday in less than an hour. Wait, Disney Hong Kong? Interesting. Sorry to hear that you got rejected though. I'm aware there's a Disneyland there, but I was actually specifically talking about the company. Or do you mean you're gonna want to work for the amusement park or the theme park? Like the theme park proper as a laborer? It was an HR job, okay. Yeah. So HR deals with a company proper. I didn't know if there's a Hong Kong branch of HR, like all that stuff. Sometimes it gets outsourced. And it's not like the Disney proper, it's just like a third party, you know, like a third party company handling the international affairs. So that can happen. My question really was directed towards that. Oh! Ooh. Almost done goof there. It's me, Disney. It's a me. Did everyone see the Super Mario thing? I posted it in the Discord. Did anyone see the Super Mario trailer? It's actually pretty good. Although it kind of turned it into more of like just it's an American production, clearly. Even the dialogue's on point with modern writing, modern comedic writing. I like what they did with Sonic the Hedgehog and Pokemon and stuff. But spot on, you know. Wouldn't expect any less from a Hollywood production. Like a Hollywood collab. Pretty solid. The visual effects are on point. I love the stylistic choice they took with Bowser. Seemingly potentially lovable, yet ominous and aggressive at the same time. Gotta appreciate that. And then the slapstick comedy, where like you have something that are foreseeably harmless but overestimate their capacity, kind of like awkward situation, juxtaposition, David and Goliath kind of comedy. Pretty solid. Reminds me of, you know, your DreamWorks, Pixar type of approach to comedic humor or situational humor. And to no surprise of myself, Chris Pratt end up using his normal speaking voice for the voice of Mario, not like some halfway impersonation kind of thing. That could run a lot of risks. So very, very natural sounding talking voice, not an Elvis Presley, you know, like an Elvis impersonator level of not quite there-ness. You know, like he wasn't gonna go around and say "It's a me, Mario" over and over again, you know, things like that. Thankfully, personally, I in my opinion, that'd be the safe approach, very conservative approach. But they didn't go out of their way to like try to get too lambastic about it. I know. These aren't complete pictures. My reference is a punched in photograph, so I will I'll just fade. I'll do a fade on these. Just have your minds fill in whatever is in there. Alright, back to looking at job ads and being consistent and reminded about your shortcomings. You can always turn your shortcomings into points of potential growth. Oh, wait. I have an idea. So we're probably gonna go really dark on those areas. I don't even know what the shape is. Like, I just drew a shape. And that's it. I don't even know how this perspective actually works right here. We'll try to figure it out. I had no idea where I was going with the whole leaf thing, but we'll get there. Getting more programming on your belt, that sounds like it's very appropriate for your career direction for sure. You know, you gotta ask yourself if you want that Chinese writing experience, right? Do ya? Do ya, punk? Yeah, we'll just... I don't really know what I'm doing at the moment with all this stuff. Okay, then now we have the blank space, so it's just gonna be largely occluded, so let's just go... Pretty much everyone asking for it, so I should learn it already, but learning a language from an intermediate level, I have no idea where to start. You're asking a rhetorical statement from a logical person, so the logical place to start is the beginning. Hate to break it to you. Foundational knowledge forms the basis of one's understanding of most things. I feel like I feel like you had to have seen that coming, right? Where do you begin? At the beginning. You're an expert? Where do you begin? At the beginning. You want to be a professional? Where do you start? You're already an amateur? At the beginning. Start at the center. This is your life career. Where do you start? At the beginning. It's like, man, I really need to review. I've been five years out on doing any of this. Beginning. That's a logical person speaking, of course. Empathy, the emotional person would say something like, where do you think you're starting? So, you know, fill it out, start in a position and ask yourself, is your comprehension and active participation sufficient for you to stay engaged? I would start at a place where you're engaged, as in you're momentarily having things that you don't know and momentarily things that you have that you do know, in which you can actively use or learn, as opposed to like feeling like you're in your comfort zone. So slightly outside your comfort zone at all times. It's how you would feel it out, I guess. If someone, like, I guess, if I'm trying to be emotionally sympathetic to your plight. But logically speaking, the beginning. If you don't know where to start, it means you don't know what the beginning is. That would be a logical, most reasonable place. If you don't need to start in the beginning, you would know. It's pretty much how a logical person would say, I guess. If you don't know where to start, it means you need to start at the beginning. Yeah, I'm just coloring in blocks. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this portion. This portion is so weird. So, man, there are also two sides to these things too. Maybe I'll do the same approach. There's a maintenance for Overwatch 2 conference. You need to calm down. I don't know where that stem is going, but whatever. Good enough. This doesn't have to make sense. The lines don't have to make sense because I don't quite make sense at the moment. Okay. All right. How do I colorate? It needs to make sense. Player left the game too on second half and I got disconnected. Well, that sounds rough. Learn. Juping. Juping. Find things to read in traditional Chinese. Use a... I don't know what that is. Is it different from pinging? Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. You gotta do whatever you gotta do to distinguish things. Well, that's being anal about the terminology. Usually pinging just means like enunciation keys for just like the common vernacular. But if you're a Kanto person, you probably want to point that out to everyone and draw hate. it's kind of like if I had to associate it with something, it's kind of like someone you know how when you ask someone if they're vegetarian because they only ordered vegetables, and then someone says I'm a Presbyterian, like, yeah, you only know regular pinging though. Oh, I see. Well, that's kind of unfortunate. Wait, when they say the job requires good written Chinese, do they mean Cantonese for the job requirement? Or are they referring to written Mandarin? And I know, they might be one and the same when it comes to writing, but there's diction differences sometimes between the two. Or at least that's what I thought they were. There were some diction differences when it comes to composition. Maybe they're exactly identical. I don't know enough about written Chinese, to be honest. Oh yeah, this doesn't make sense. Let's just cut this. Let's just like loop there. Fixed. And there we go. Good enough. Well, I assume it's Cantonese unless they specify. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. That seems very reasonable. Honestly, doing more with this composition after applying like the different colors is gonna be whack. But I still have an hour and a half, I guess. Okay. I don't think I know enough of both to know how many difference they have in diction other than, yeah, I know nothing. I'm illiterate, so I feel like this is your your go, my friend. It's all you, buddy. That sounds like a you problem. I mean, it is kind of like a both us problem, but yes. It's an issue. it is me. That's funny. Yeah. I can't help you with it, unfortunately. I know I'm completely illiterate. It was hard enough to command the English language. You'd be surprised how low English comprehension really actually is. Even now when I'm talking using common speak, like a vernacular speak, it's really far from even high school level. Like senior high school level is probably as the average, probably around the world, like globally. English is a mess though, because of cognates and accents and multiple users and whatnot, but I don't know enough about Chinese to make a comment on it comparatively. But in terms of like the educational level, like comparing within and globally, average English comprehension is pretty low. It's below the what educational levels would consider the median level. Maybe like a little bit shy of high school graduate. It's the global average. To put things into perspective, right? Just because a lot of people use English doesn't mean they are educated in English. Is kind of the perspective. Like, it's nice that English has a lower end where a lot of people can communicate well enough. So it gives that adoption as well. Not too bad. But typically English comprehension is very low. It's nice that people are tolerant though. I feel like because of the amount of the variabilities in comprehension over the years, it has made English very tolerant. Those who decide to learn English and use English are very tolerant. They stay on the superficial level. I don't think in most of my years, like, it's coming on 4 years of Twitch, I don't think I spoke anywhere close past high school level of English. You're pro English, sir. Yes, sir, you are indeed. And I stay away from that too. I personally do not want to speak like that because it's very low success. You become so esoteric and verbose. There's a way to be, it's not to say, and if you're wondering, like, if someone is esoteric, are they inherently verbose? That's not necessarily true. You can be very eloquently spoken without, in like length and words and poetic, without actually using vocabulary that is either archaic or just completely obtuse in general. But you can sound like, you could sound like a pompous fool. Like, you could sound really pompous in English. And thankfully, I feel like, to me, I actually like that people have lower English comprehension. Like, the median is lower because it gives a lot more people like less of a snobby thing. Like, people don't gatekeep for English. When people joke about like, oh yeah, English is an easy language, it's like, thank goodness that's what people think, that English is an easy language. Since it's perceived as easy, more people pick up English. So because more people pick up English, it's a little bit more convenient for me. So it's humorous when someone comes up who doesn't understand linguistics and the perspective of linguistic adoption that says like, oh, I'm trying to insult English by saying it's easy, like it's perceived as easy. It's like, that's exactly that. I'll take that as a compliment, because if you use a primary language that is perceived as easy, most people are going to adopt it, and that's great. Unfortunately, English is like a Pandora's box. It's pretty terrible. Like, it's extremely inconsistent. So while it's great that you can learn other languages when you're only learning the basics of English, so like a lot of times, in my opinion, it's a little different. My perspective on being bilingual is different. Someone can consider themselves bilingual when they reach a certain threshold, right? It's the person's perspective to evaluate if they are proficient enough for a language. But generally speaking, when someone says they are bilingual and they include English, that comprehension is nowhere near my threshold of considering someone bilingual in English. Just as the same as a Japanese person coming to me and say, oh, I know how to do casual conversation in Japanese on the fly, form sentences, but the Japanese person would be like, dude, can we talk about politics? Or something else, something of higher level, right? So I wouldn't loosely say I'm bilingual in anything. In fact, I almost consider myself just proficient in English, but I could and still can sometimes sound so obtuse and esoteric that someone would just like nod and say, I think I know what you mean, but I have no idea what you mean. Kind of thing. When I step into like science, like a seminar with, I don't know, some intellectuals, you hear the words they're saying, like you hear them, like you get the words, right? The words separately, but I just can't comprehend the words together. Like, you know, when someone's describing a book and they're using very loquacious diction, and it's like, I get what moon is. I get that you're talking about serenading someone and like the melancholy of this juxtaposition, but I don't quite get the deeper meaning you're going for. Like I get all the separate words, but I don't see how the words fit together. That's when I feel you can truly consider yourself bilingual. I hear words, but they didn't make a sense. Yes, exactly. And personally, when you get into like universities and stuff, and then you start hearing someone else speak your language but describe whatever they do really, really well, way over my head. And I usually default to a saying that Eric and I pretty much habitually use all the time. It generally feels like we're way out of our depth. Like if we sit there and we can't even comprehend the words placed together, we're way out of our depth. And that happens with English because it varies so much. Like I feel like it's worth saying that each field in English has a different English. So if you have a biologist who goes and speaks to a chemist, they both use English as the language, but they would only like be able to communicate like half the time. Half the words mean something else. Like the significance of the words no longer mean the same thing, because people, too many different contexts use it. So do I like other languages? I actually would love to learn a different language other than English, because a lot of times those languages predominantly have a little bit more rigidity to their rules. Meanwhile, English is like coffers yelling at me and saying pep every 3 seconds, and you're supposed to read what he means by pep over and over again. Or like when someone says the sauce, like, yeah, pep. Pep. It's like pep. That's the level of Chinese. I'm 100. Oh, I know, like the sauce, dude. The sauce. I just saw. I was watching a video, right? I was watching a video of Max doing something, and the title was literally Hayo, or what's his name? The guy from Samurai Showdown. Iomaru. I think that was his name. Iomaru? Hyomaru? Or Haomaru? Something like that. And it just says Howl has the sauce in all caps, and I wouldn't know what they meant by the sauce if it wasn't for coffers. And he didn't really say what it was defined. He just said it. So when he says it, the way he said it, it was already inferred that the sauce is a desirable thing. Now try explaining that to someone who thinks they're bilingual in a different country learning English, and then implicitly trying to understand what coffers mean by saying, you know, the sauce. It's got the sauce. That's how I feel about English in general. Meanwhile, other languages are like, there are right and wrong ways to do things, right? You still have those traditional outside primary English. You truly know you're a primary English speaker when you stop saying that there's a right and a wrong way to use English, because you realize that you're just going to end up in a fight with, I say it this way and you say it that way, and that's fine. That's it. It's so relatively easy to pick out someone who doesn't necessarily consider themselves as a primary English speaker. Well, that includes bilingual people. So like, if they don't consider themselves as one language, one English person, they will inherently suggest that there are right and wrong ways to say things. You know what? I think I might decide to aim to however late beyond. Yeah. I do feel like you do need to know Chinese. It seems like if you keep running into the same thing, you gotta nip it in the bud, so to speak. You know, nip it in the bud. I think for the longest time I've said that phrase incorrectly. Like, it took me a decade to realize that it's a flower, it's a plant idiom, which at least 50% of English speakers who are aware, I would say conservatively, 1 out of 2, when they say that idiom in English, they probably said but. Yeah, they probably said the word but. And in a way, it's still flexible enough to mean the same thing. But if you nip in the butt, you can still infer the same meaning. Unless you're not a primary English speaker, then you have no idea. Then you're just like, what does nipping and butt have to do with anything? It's like, well, you know, you just nip it. That's it. Butts have nips? Listen. Nip is a verb. Also fictitious. Stop trying to be a dad. Stop trying to make a dad joke. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Oh my gosh, that's a pretty good one too. I think I don't know if this is true about Chinese. Do either Cantonese or Chinese interchange verbs for nouns with the same word often? I know that in Mandarin there's overlap in enunciation, but not in that way. Like, you verbalize nouns and you can verbalize nouns or nounify objectify verbs. Is that a thing? I don't know. I don't know if they're distinct or not. Like, for example, stop pulling a Josh. Your name is literally an example of English verbifying and nounifying. I don't have good words for them. Like objectifying and verbalizing interchangeably. Yeah, like joshing, Josh. Those are like that's a thing in English that is almost haphazardly used to the point where it's normalized. So when someone's making it, like doing it, it's not that big a deal. Like you just simply know implicitly what they mean. Like you don't ever ask like, wait, did you just, you know, no one's gonna stop. Sometimes they do just for comedic effect, but most of the time when someone verbalizes a noun, it's just like, oh yeah, okay, I get what you mean. That's it. Like that's just the way the English language goes. You mean some Josh started joshing and it became the real verb to mean banter? I'm actually kind of curious. I mean, you're the one that picked the name. Did you look at the etymology of the freaking word? Joshing. Let's see. Let's look at the origins. Let's look at the etymology of this word. You didn't? Alright. Honestly, I have a feeling joshing started before... Wait, hold up. Oh my gosh, that is, if this is true, which looks like most people largely agree this is true, that is a ridiculous story. And it is. It does deal with a person named Josh. I kid you not. It actually, Josh, you nailed it. It actually literally has something to do with someone named Josh, and they verbalized Josh to joshing. So here it is. It's kind of long, but this is a pretty good digression. So the United States once produced a 5-cent nickel coin in 1883. So that's when it started, the nickel coin in our currency. And then the first year issue simply had the Roman numeral like 5 for 5 cents on the reverse, basically just for 5, but neglected to add the word cents, right? So since the size of the coin was roughly the same as a $5 gold piece, which I guess that was a thing back then, gold plating the coin made it look like a $5 gold piece. So there was this guy, when it was issued, this guy decided to counterfeit them by plating numerous nickels with gold, and basically made a lot of small purchases. And then eventually he was arrested for fraud and counterfeiting. But he happens to be a deaf and mute person. No, so deaf, muted person. I'm not sure. It didn't specify if they were like deaf, born deaf or not. And maybe deaf mute means that he became deaf at one point. I don't know, but it says deaf mute specifically. And in court, no one could claim he presented the coin as anything other than what it was, a mere nickel. Because, no verbal, no auditory claims. Like there's no subterfuge. He just simply presented the coin and people assumed. So technically he's not guilty of it. It's just negligence on the merchant's part. Usually that's probably how it would fly. The merchant simply mistakenly gave him too much change, which was not a crime. The man's name is Josh, and thus joshing is someone who became a term for fooling others as part of the vernacular ever since. That's it. That summarizes English in a nutshell. So what you're trying to tell me, Josh, is you're a scumbag. No, I'm just kidding. What you're trying to tell me, Josh, is that there's a potential that you're a scumbag and you're here to scam me. That joshing, that scamming guy, right? No, I'm just kidding. It's a pretty cool story. I really like it. I love... Okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm a scumbag scam that relies on other people's negligence. It's a valid point. Effectively, that guy did not commit a crime, right? Negligence is as much of a crime in the United States. Negligence is as much of a crime as like scamming, in my opinion, because that's two-way responsibility, it's two-way responsibility. But intent is kind of important. But at the same time, Josh, man, solid. I love stories like that. That story is awesome. Negligence is, I don't want to be like the whataboutism kind of person where like, oh yeah, people are committing crimes all the time, but what about negligence? I don't want to like do that too much. But for intended planned crimes, for every one of those, I would like to gamble safely, or like conservatively, I would say there's probably like 4 acts of negligence that led to something very unfortunate. Even a system problem, like a loophole in the system and stuff, that could just be the symptom of global negligence, right? So as much as, and I'm not saying that it's a bad or a good thing, it's inherent to human nature. Humans do not have the all-knowing hindsight and like vigilance and whatnot. We wouldn't be human otherwise, right? So it's fairly conservative to say that acts of negligence would probably outnumber anything that requires a conscionable action. So if you're thinking about committing a crime, likelihood is like 6 other people probably committed negligence already, committed an act of negligence, because we naturally are absent-minded. It's actually easier to overlook something, or like it's more frequent to overlook something whenever you're not consciously thinking about it. So every time you're not consciously deciding on something, there's probably something you're overlooking. So it's super scary because negligence, like scary example, negligence, nuclear meltdown. Like here in the state I live in, there used to be a nuclear reactor, and what happened, it ended up having a meltdown, and it wasn't a failure in construction or anything of the plant. It was actually human negligence that caused the meltdown. So and then forevermore it's marred, like nuclear energy and power plant is forever marred with like paranoia and whatnot, right? Because it's really scary, understandably, but it's not because of the nature of nuclear power. Like the power plant and whatnot is like flimsy, or the scare came from human negligence is what caused the meltdown, which is, you know, it's not a Fukushima thing where like a natural disaster happened where human didn't have the foresight to fortify, you know, it's not that situation. The power plant melted down because of negligence. And that's really scary. Like when you watch local news, like a local car gets stuck on the train tracks and the train got delayed because it smashed right into the car because someone was negligent in upkeeping their car, and it just happened to stop and stalled on a train track. It's rare for any one perspective, you know what I mean? Like these big acts of negligence is rare for any close perspective incident. Like for one person to witness negligence is rare enough to think it feels rare, but it is the highest frequency shortcoming of being human. So in a global scale, crime holds a lick of a candle to negligence. However, negligence can be innocent, right? We have moral codes and stuff, but law tends to not be very kind to morality. So being ignorant of something can be accused of negligence simply being ignorant of it, even though they could be innocent of like just being, like for example, a company withholding, like executives withholding information from their employees, and the employees had no idea they were more or less co-conspirating or like being coerced to do something that they're unaware of. In a way, they are enabling that, but they are unaware of what's going on, which is so scary. Like that's like I think gaslighting is easily the second. That's not a law thing. Like you can't be accused of gaslighting, but still, you can be. I think you can be accused of like grooming, but grooming is very situational. Like grooming is too selective. It's about an adult grooming a younger person who is incapable of like defending themselves from like the manipulation process. But I feel like grooming is age independent, in my opinion, at this point. You love gaslighting? You're practically gaslighting yourself now. Okay. One thing to be said about you, Josh. There is a propensity for you to gaslight yourself, and it does deal with like your current state of mind and health and stuff. But you can gaslight yourself. Like for example, your statement earlier when you say, okay, I'm gonna go back and look at ads now so I can remind myself of my shortcomings. You have probably just as notable amount of shortcomings as you have qualifications. However, you decide to choose to focus on your shortcomings. That can be dangerous to your own health. So it's really up you can truly gaslight yourself as well. But it wouldn't be called gaslighting. It would just be like it's not literally called gaslighting. It's more like being disillusioned or being nihilistic. As opposed, because self-inflicted, you don't like. The idea of saying you gaslit yourself is kind of weird. So the alternative would be like being nihilistic. Is like everyone else is qualified for these things, but not me. Why even bother? The Cantonese language is so complicated. Why even bother learning it? I'm just pointing these things out. Just be careful. You know what I mean? Like, be careful about outcomes, like using it to predict outcomes, as opposed to like you can say, yeah, I don't know Chinese, right? Well, I don't have good written Chinese, and that's a fact. But going to the ads and predicting that you'll only be able to be reminded about your shortcomings, it's a predictive manner. Like you haven't done it yet, so your outlook is already pretty negative about it. I know you might be joking, but you know what I mean. Like I know you might be joking. It's just that people don't get to a point of low self-esteem by suddenly doing one thing and become less confident and lack of self-esteem. They actually do it repeatedly, and then eventually it slowly becomes a thing. And that gradual progression is hard to see for a person looking inward. So like it's hard to notice unless someone points it out that you're constantly talking yourself down, or even in a jokingly way. Like sometimes you can command really well about like jokes, right? Self-deprecating jokes are a very common way to alleviate. Like I would deliver a joke and I would insult myself because it's safer, but it grounds the person. It makes the person show like you're self-aware of your shortcomings and whatnot. However, repeatedly emphasizing things and constantly turning to away, it's hard to see that it might be affecting your depiction of yourself, which it's really common associate with like you talk about your weight, right? Your perception of yourself. You're not very groomed. Like you mentioned a lot of those things, they go hand in hand. Eventually it piles up to this image that you may or may not be able to break in the future. And that can be very, to me, that could affect you more than any skill you'll acquire. In fact, it'll probably prevent you from ever acquiring a skill. So like, you'll start to like become fatalistic. You'll be like, it's gonna take like 3 years to do this. Why? Like, it's too not getting there. And then by the end of the 3 years, I'm probably not gonna be that great. I've been there. I still think that way about me. So professionally, whenever there's like a higher person, right? You're always when you enter professionalism, now the public and all the standards are related to you. And in order to stay a professional, you have to be able to safeguard yourself from that unrealistic comparison. Things like, man, everyone knows Chinese, but there's a chance everyone's like 5 years older than you or something. But there are alternative ways to explain certain things. And then there are things that you just have to accept, like, hey, my arm, I don't have a right arm, for example. A person lost their right arm. Well, there are realities that they have to accept, right? Or they can choose to go against it, but it's still, they have to acknowledge those things. So that's fair. That's fair. Just, he's armless. Yeah, I think I'm improving a lot in the aspects because of my morning routine. I feel more hopeful. That's great. That's fantastic. And you should, there's a balance, right? You don't want to end up showing that you're self-entitled or anything, but you deserve things you proactively have control over. And the way you verbalized looking for ads made it seem like you have no control over it, and that can be very defeating. Like, there's got to be a job that doesn't require good written Chinese, right? I don't know this, so the fact is, it might just be a requirement for all your jobs, and I'd be like, okay, I guess you have to accept that. Wait, I'm too not, I don't know enough about that stuff. But the idea is, I'm just pointing out that yo, listen, I'm trying, okay? I'm trying. The idea is that I just wanted to let you know that your ability to talk is probably already, your ability to communicate with other people and being like honest with yourself can be sometimes dangerous to yourself as well. And when you become a professional, you might take that to your professionalism, and then you'll end up becoming an imposter. Imposter syndrome is very real. Like, for someone who has that type of like mentality, imposter syndrome can happen quite a lot, and it's very unprofessional. Like, people don't get miffed when there's an imposter syndrome. Basically, it happens when someone forgets that they are extraordinary. Like, they've caressed. Like, you have to also be able to know when you're above average and not to like miff everyone else around you. I am most definitely, like, it might come off as pity, like self-pitying, and then it kind of like disrupts the workplace a lot, where like you have to, just as much as recognizing what is true about your weaknesses, you also have to recognize when you're not in the weak. It's like, it's one of those things, like, too much of a good thing makes you ignorant of your good thing too. So like, when someone says oh yeah, this is really hard, I'm like, no, that is really hard. You know, like when someone says like, "Oh man, I don't get it. Why? I'm just not any good at this." And then someone else is like, "Whatever you're doing, I'm not even close to that. Like what? That's hard. I don't know whatever you're doing, but it's great." That's imposter syndrome. That it's a loose thing. It happens in Osu all the time. Oh man, stale bread really hard. Yeah. Luckily, you know, for me, it's not a big deal when it comes to like games, because games, your job and your livelihood's not involved in it. But when you're like, when you have skills and you're a little bit impressive, you got to know when you're impressive or you're above average, because humility is a skill, in my opinion. Like being able to express humility without becoming an imposter is like the higher end of things. When they're, you know, like the Japanese culture has this wonderful way of balancing the eloquence of trying to be like, oh, you know, you have done great work. What they, a lot of times you redirect, like when someone compliments you and talks highly of you, you redirect it and celebrate the person that's complimenting you. That's a effective way. The not so effective way most of the time is when someone compliments you and you say it's not a big deal. I feel most people can do what I do. That can get you into trouble, generally speaking. I mean, there are people that will be able to resonate with that, because if you can read the person and they feel the same way, you can probably fly with that. But generally speaking, deflecting, redirecting a compliment and compliment the other person is more reliable. And that happens in Osu a lot, because when you're at top, when you're near a diminished return point, you're always reminded about your failings, because you're aiming at something that requires diminished return. Is learning good written Cantonese diminished return? Or like being able to wheel Cantonese? That is certainly up for the beholder. But for example, if you ask my parents, the answer is a resounding yes, as opposed to English, right? So that type of stuff, you can't sell yourself short sometimes. Like there are things, just saying. I'm not saying what you're saying now is not unreasonable, like it's unreasonable. I think it's really reasonable, because I have no idea what the situation is when it comes to getting hired in Hong Kong. I'm just ranting about the potentialness of harming your own self-esteem in the long run, because you are young, Josh. You are a young person, and that cynicism, save it for when you're 40. just save it for when you're older. You know, embrace a little bit more of an arrogance, I guess, or confidence. It's such a cliche, but at least I take that Hong Kong is a little bit more westernized, like capitalized, like capitalism-esque. So confidence sell quite more than skill, unfortunately, or fortunately. Depends. If you have a lot of confidence, it's fortunate. If you don't, like me, it's hard to sell on confidence alone. I typically don't sell on confidence alone. It actually puts me at a disadvantage most of the time. Like if you're in a westernized place and you're looking for a job, typically self-confidence is quite a bit more selling, even borderline arrogance. Like it's to the point where I do have some reservations myself when I see like clearly this guy is less qualified than me, but I have a skill, they have a skill I don't. Confidence is a skill. To exude confidence requires a lot of practice, especially for someone who's more, if you find yourself more metrically bound, like what my resume looks like, how much experience I have in certain things, you're probably like somewhat objectively bound. But it just that just doesn't sell in westernized things. But anyways, I've been failing Chinese writing since primary school. Wait, can you pass school without passing Chinese writing? Took me until last week to figure out what I actually know how to do and have done a ton of machine learning. Oh, okay. Fair enough. You need to be imbalanced. Yeah. You do, like, it does sound like you're quite complacent person, though. I stand by what I mean by, you don't get things done until until someone obligates you to it, which, honestly, it's very comforting. It's easy to do when you obligate someone to it. Like, when someone is obligating you to a task. I rarely get, like, I empathize with that because I rarely get things done when I don't obligate myself to something. Basically, this drawing. I'm gonna add a little bit of trying to fade this a little so that I don't have to fit the rest of this stuff in. I'm probably gonna black out most of this stuff now that I think about it. Yeah, I'm probably gonna black out most of this. I don't even know why I'm doing that at the moment. I distinctly remember getting zeros for Chinese writing in primary school simply from the penalty of not reaching the required word count, but also I never had to repeat since I still passed Chinese. Oh, is that how that works? Okay, that's fair. Interesting. Yeah, you can't pass high school without passing English here. Like, I just, it's very difficult to imagine someone, yeah, it's very difficult imagining someone being able to get their GED in any form of the English language. Multiple times. Also, in my defense, non-ethnically Chinese students in my primary school generally went for French instead of Chinese and learned an easier Chinese for their third language, where I did. Wait, you have a tiered system for learning languages? That's interesting. That's actually pretty neat. Having like a graded tier system for learning language. So depending on the order of the aptitude, you can soft grade it. I think that approach is pretty reasonable. It's very pragmatic. It's very Asian, I would say. The exposure to the language is just different when you don't interact with the language at home. That's fair. Would you believe me if I told you English is not the main language spoken at home? For me? Yeah, I don't... Like, if it wasn't for the internet, it would not be the main language. But because of the way Chinese is, the main language isn't Mandarin either. If you know what I mean. It's also not Mandarin. And the reason why I'm illiterate is because the main language that I speak at home is not formally taught. Equivalently to written Mandarin or written Chinese, however you want to phrase it. It's probably more accurate to say written Chinese. So like I can't even connect the dots. Actually, neither of my parents probably can connect the dots on those anymore. Written Chinese, bleh. Yeah. One thing I do have to say that's quantifiable about English is the number of characters. Thank goodness, right? Thank goodness. The rigidity of the symbolism in English is fantastic. As long as we're not counting emotes. Like, are we counting emotes as an extension and byproduct of the English culture, or are we gonna give that a pass and like say it's also universal? What do you think? I actually think that emotes is a byproduct of the American culture, but mainly because of the origins of how emotes were popularized. But some people would beg to differ because they have their nationalization, right? The country nationalization, where like it hurts people's pride to admit that something Americanized could be so viral, but it's very difficult to deny the fact that the majority of the original infrastructure for any type of online communication originated in the United States. And speaking in emotes, yeah, you do it already. It's like a different language now. But the question is that language an extension of English? Because emotes, right? The emote command themselves, the root of those emote commands are English. Even when it comes to other languages, it's still preferentially the English interpretation of those commands. Like, it's to the point where if you ask another person who uses a different language, they have no problems typing those emotes without ever even knowing English. If you know what I mean. Right? So it got to the point where people can emote without knowing anything about the root word that's used for the emote, which is originated in English. That's what I mean by is it fair to consider that emotes originated? Like, you don't have to know anything about English. You can just type the emote. It's like memorizing a number, you know? Like 420. I don't know. I was trying to be funny. But it's like 420. The context, the number, it has like no relative meaning, but it does have a meaning. It's just, it's not the individual digits. So remembering 420 is, you know, or 727, right? 727. Would you consider that an extension of the nuance of English? Although numbers are a different story. Like I'm stretching now because numbers are a different story in general. But still, it kind of sort of holds up. I'm getting like riskily more general. Fun times. I love talking about languages. It's a shame I don't know that much about different languages. It's it's more than a lifetime. Brilliant people spend lifetimes in linguistics. So it would be a disservice to those individuals to say that I have any command of a reasonable amount of knowledge regarding the languages intimately. I would say maybe the bigger picture is fine, but that's because it's like sociological and anthropological. You can kind of sort of get away with like some hand wavy comments, like the hand wavy comments that I made here. It's definitely not like anywhere near the neighborhood of someone who actually has expertise in linguistics. Much like considering myself a decent artist, right? I would say it is, if I were being fair to myself, I do have some intuition about it, but the intuition comes more from my attention span thing, where like when I consume media and stuff, I constantly am haphazardly paying attention to certain things. So that's probably the product. This is probably the product of it, where you like intuit things that perhaps it's just mere exposure that's causing the intuition. As opposed to, in my opinion. Okay, so here's one thing that I haven't really asked people too often. Do you think a skill has to be cautionable? That's a really important question, because that's what a kid was asking about when it came to emotions being a skill. I already responded in the way that I interpret it. But skills, most individuals, like commonly people would say yes. A skill has to be conscionable. Conscious, I don't know if I'm using that word properly, but it has to be like actively aware that you're doing it. Like intuition, for example, would be the counter, the sibling of skill. When you intuit something, it's usually associate the word talent, right? Talent, inherent talent, which is not conscionable. Like you did not actively associate. But then again, you know, emotions are conscionable. I didn't know where I was going with that. I think I was thinking of a skill that would raise eyebrows, and I forgot what I was thinking, so my bad. Yeah, I have no idea what I was thinking. So, whoops. My thought is gone. It's to the ether. It's lost. It's to the wind. You're lost too? Awesome. Good. That was my intent. All right. Sounds like you're doing some copium. What do you mean by copium? Don't copium me. Ask Coffers about copium. He has a master class in copium. And what the heck is that? Oh, yeah, the copium emote, right. Okay. All right. We got like 30 minutes left. I don't think I'm going to do the tomorrow's prompt. But I still got another scene. I need to add another scene. So we still got more to do here. There's another element that I was going to do. And then I was going to do a lighting element, which, oh man, this might be a little tough. I haven't ever done this before, so we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I don't know how to make like water puddle stuff, so we'll see. This bouquet is actually on the ground. That's why it looks really weird. So you have to imagine it like just laying on the ground. Like I was gonna tell a story with this. Like it's not just like suspended in the air. So we'll see. Okay. Okay, so how do I produce that? I don't know how to produce that effect with using this brush. Maybe we'll use a different brush. It's time to cheat, guys. Wait, can I cheat? I don't think I can cheat. Maybe this is what I'm looking for? That's actually a really nice... I really like this. Oh heck, this is nice. The times I know Coffers is available is when I'm sleeping. He's available now, actually. He's just being a Pepega. I don't know how to do this. Oh no. I really don't know how to do this. How do I get this to work? No. It's not quite there. Maybe... No, that's not quite right either. Hmm. Hmm. Mine's called for being heard by being normalized by everybody. Well, I do have to admit, this is definitely not. It wouldn't been the auspicious. It's not the like the greatest time for me either. Like the only reason I came out like during this time is because it's kind of close to the end of the. I don't know how to do this, so I'm winging it. I really do not know how to get this. However, people do the. Hmm. Well, that's what I'm doing. That's certainly what I'm doing right now. Okay. What? What is this? What is this I'm looking at? Gosh, what is that about? Explain. Explain yourself. Oh, the winging thing? Right, fair enough. What the heck? Wait. What the? Why is this not? Why is this not getting so much lighter? What the heck happened here? Oh, maybe that's just the way it is. That how? Oh, am I at the limit of this? Oh, okay. I am at the limit of. Okay, so it's kind of like a cresting thing. Oh, that's different. Oh, that's so much like... Okay, maybe this one? Not quite what I'm looking for. It might do. No. Yeah, man. So hard to get that. Hmm. That's not it. No. Maybe. What time is it? I have 14 minutes. So not quite what I'm looking for either. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take some. What is it? It's kind of like oh, there's some like maybe I could do it this way. If I do it this way. No. These need dark. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of like flanked. So most of these edges are flanked by. That might be not what I'm looking for, but it's okay. Now I kind of want to do. Oops. You can feel it. Fair enough. And then what was the thing I wanted to do? I wanted to is it this thing? That's not it. That's not it. Okay. No. No. Okay, hold up. I know what I know what it looks like. Calm down. Everyone calm down. I know. Calm down. Nothing's ruined. It's fine. Hold up. Hold up. I'm trying to see if I can do this thing. Is it this thing? No. It's weird. Hold up. Hold up. It's hard to see. Maybe I should turn this stuff off. What the... Wait, did I actually remove... Oh, no. Fine. Okay. Don't worry. This will make sense. Don't worry. This will make sense. I know. It's really weird right now. Don't worry about it. Oh yeah, it's I think it's this thing. Hold up. I was trying to make a mask for the puddle of water in the back is what I was trying to do. And it's really nondescript. It's very nondescript. And the reason why I splashed in white is from the sky. So like if the sky is hitting the water, right? I just basically just threw white everywhere and I mixed it with black. So that it looks like it's murky, right? And then now I got to do something else. I still got to do something else. So when the trolley is RTX enabled, yeah. So I was just like hand waving the way I'm doing it. So and then there was something else I wanted to do too. I also wanted to do this. It was supposed to be a perspective photo. So let me see. So I want to go like halfway. Oops. Dang it. No. Hold up. So I forgot to include the lines. Yeah, I forgot to include the lines. So let's just... That's too aggressive. Say 3. What the heck is... There's a blank spot in there. What the... Where is that blank spot coming from? All right. We're done. This is good enough. Okay. It's right at midnight. Go back to your newly created mask. Oh yeah, maybe, yeah. We can fill, oh yeah, we can fill in the gap from there. That's actually pretty all right. There we go. It could be better for sure, but nice. Bouquet is the prompt today. It's another step in the right direction. Yeah. I can't get this. It'll be interesting. I gotta do like the water thing a little bit better. Like the water puddle thing a little bit better. There is something I'm not drawing on here, which are the water droplets on the flower. That's okay. I'm not doing that. But it's not raining. We're gonna pretend it's not raining. It's just very watery floor. It's not raining, guys. No time. 3.5 hours. It's not raining. We're gamers. We hate rain. What do you mean? When it rains, you get to stay indoors. What are you talking about? Oh, game lag. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. That's actually very fair. That's a good one. All right. Today's 6, right? Hey. Nice. Honestly, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the beginning of the real folk blues, when the single rose was on the ground at the ending of Cowboy Bebop, I just realized that that's probably what I had my mind fixated on. But I needed to draw more than one flower because it's okay. But anyways. Day 6! We got it. Still on track. Still on track. You don't ever remember that? The intro? The real folk blues. I don't know the Japanese words. Wait. Here, let me show you. I'll find it. Let's see if we can find the image. Oh no, it's gonna take a while. We have to go. Wait. Okay, you just have to use your imagination. But it's this specific rose. At the end, like it starts with da na 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 do 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 do. Wait, hold up. It's that's not it. Sorry, that's not the right window. So this one, right here, the intro starts with this scene right here where there's the rose and it's raining outside, and then at the end when the song goes on, eventually the rose gets it falls to the ground. This is I guess this is a cut of all the endings. Yeah, like he's gonna be on the ground, and I forgot her name, but he went to buy the rose. This is the ending. These are cut stills. It's a montage of the ending to Cowboy Bebop, and there it is right there. Whoops. But it's like one puddle though. It's one puddle on a cobblestone, and then the rose just gets planted. It falls from him, so it's implied that he didn't get to give her the rose. It's the, I don't know if anyone watched Cowboy Bebop. Spoilers. It was a tragic. Yeah, it was one of the hard, the only two more story arcs, the multiple episode story arcs in Cowboy Bebop, with Spike and his love interest. But yeah, and it's the ending of the show. You see it right there. The rose is it falls down. It actually falls down into screen onto a puddle. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start making singular puddles in the future, because it's really hard to get the whole multiple puddles thing. But anyways. Spoilers. Yeah, I know, right? This was a good one. I like this one. Yeah, I'm spoiled, but what has that got to do? Just saying. Yeah, this was a good one. This one turned out... I'm gonna be honest. When I was drawing the lines, I mean, you can probably go to an earlier point, but when I was drawing the lines, it looked like I was just making a mess, but it worked out. Cowboy Bebop was a good one, indeed. Oh yeah, I gotta post this. We'll say 3.5 hours. give or take a few. So the post. I'm starting to get a little bit more ambitious again. So as Inktober goes on, I tend to get more and more ambitious. So I start focusing on other things like stories and I think it's about 3 hours, to be honest. We digressed it. It gets a little bit more and more ambitious. And then it's going to get into crunch time. Like, when it gets more and more ambitious, I start running out of time more often and more often. So let's look at tomorrow's prompt. I mean, today's prompt. It's past midnight now for me. So let's look at what is today's prompt. I'm not going to work on it until tomorrow. I really thought I was going to do 2. I was going to do 2 today. Like right now, I would start. Right now, I would start a new one. But tomorrow's prompt is trip. Oh, really? Wait, I don't know how that makes sense. Oh, you mean like it's just 24-hour difference? Oh no. Oh, it's a flip. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I know what you mean. So, but the biphasic, yeah. So you just had to flip the PM. That's kind of easy to remember. I'll have to keep that in mind in the future when we talk about time or time-dependent things. You're double the distance of Germany. Like when I mean double distance, I mean time zone separation of Germany. Germany is 6 hours. The reason why I use Germany is the longest friend I have overseas lives in that time zone. And that's my reference point for everything. No, it's not Universal Central Time, okay? Personal. All those British people telling me like, well, most people use GMT. And I'm like, okay, well, do you want to be my rational British friend or something that understands how to stay open-minded? Oh, wait, never mind. You already expressed to me how close-minded you are by telling me about how I should interpret my relative time. Time is not an SI unit, all right? It's not an SI unit. And time zones are most definitely not even that either. Time zones are arbitrary. Time zones are arbitrary. It's the perception of light. It has very little to do with science. But most people use the time zone they live in. That's fair. Yeah. You should base it off of UTC plus 8 because most population there. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, I could do like a K-Kona thing, but that'd be a little rude. But well, we're gonna do it anyways. Well, you know, we all know the world revolves around the United States. So it's a shame the United States doesn't have a singular time zone, right? That falls apart even when trying to consider the United States the center of the universe. Which part of the United States? We can't even agree on time zones even within in a singular country. So doesn't really work. You just start infighting the whole time. Like, who the heck would use Hawaii as a point of reference? Right, fictitious? Right? Right? You feel me? No, I'm just kidding. Not you? Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That was a potential response, for sure. Definitely a potential response. Trip, huh? The only thing that frustrates me about the United States is when they say region standard time during daylight savings time. Yeah, that's fair. And then everyone else use standard versus saving. Like they also have a two point designation, and for me, I just use ST the entire time. Like I don't even use like region. I just use ST all the time. Like I always say I'm EST. Yeah, summertime. Yep. So like for me, I generally just abbreviate EST, even though I should be saying EDT sometimes. Not even region, like Eastern Daylight Time, like daylight savings time, as opposed to EST. But it doesn't matter to me. I always just type EST because it's like you have to say like EST +1 or EST, just EST or ET. You can't just say ET, but then you lose information, right? Then you're like then the whole point of adding the S in the thing was just to add information, which makes everything more complicated. Like ET stands for extraterrestrial. Josh, are you telling me that there's something extraterrestrial about time? But the S doesn't add information if you use it during daylight savings time? No, but the point is that it's consistent. Like 3 letters. Because if you take away the letter, now you don't know if you're talking about time anymore. I'll challenge you, Josh, to use ET to someone and ask them what they think. They're gonna think ET phone home. Josh, seriously, if you drop ET in a sentence, they're gonna ask you, why are you talking about Steven Spielberg's movie? You know? You know, Josh? You know? Sorry, that was a little aggressive. You're right at the same time. I don't like that you're right, man. What did you... It's not about being right, Josh. It's about stop making a fool of yourself. No, I'm just kidding. Fine. All right, trip. So are we gonna go on a trip, or do you think it's the action of tripping? Actually, let me hold up. Let me look at references. Drawing, tripping. Oh, should I draw a waifu for the first time ever in my entire drawing career? Whatever this is. Should I draw a waifu tripping on air as a meme to anime? Because it could be that trip. I don't know if it's that trip. We could like do like a road trip or something. MAKU, why are you talking about Steven Spielberg's well-known movies about aliens? I don't know, man. I could draw an anime. I could draw an anime girl tripping, because like that is legit a meme in its own right. Like just a clumsy girl tripping. That's I can't. That's so stock. Like an anime girl being clumsy, tripping. It could be a chibi thing too. All right, we'll do that. I'll give one for the anime. I'm not very good at drawing anime girls in general. Remember to put toast in the mouth. Oh yeah, that's fair. But what about her like holding, like what about a waitress? You know, what about a waitress? You know, a waitress spilling, tossing all the things, you know? That's like standard too. I was thinking more like the one where someone's looking at the girl and she literally just trips on the one rock in the entire playground. Like they would be out and the only thing they were able to trip on is the one convenient rock in the whole flat surface. Like the whole, it would be a road. It would be a paved road, and there would be a brown rock right there where the anime girl tripped. That's what I was gonna do. I was gonna do. Oh, listen, that's a little thirsty. Listen, you're a little thirsty. Josh, we were thinking about something wholesome. Gosh, I was thinking of something wholesome. Listen, that girl have ears. Josh. Are you telling me to also draw the ears too? Listen, I was thinking more something like this. Josh, please. Oh my gosh, I'm blinded. Hold up. I was thinking something like this. Or trip. Like, she's not really tripping on anything, but it's just tripping. That's it. Or like we're not doing something like this. That's kind of, you know, this, like this, legit. Put make it like a parking lot, right? Just draw the entire parking lot and put one rock right where she's tripping, and that's it. That's the anime. That's how you animate it. It just happens to be, there's no rock. It could be like a rock that's completely out of place. It's just somehow a brown rock landed in the middle of an entirely paved black surface parking lot, and the girl just happened to trip on that one rock. That's, you know, we gotta like make it super extreme, like extreme. Or I could just have them trip on nothing, but, or I guess you could do something like this where you can trip on sounds like aliens to me, or you can have like, you know, this crazy thing. This would take too long. I don't want to draw this like that. That would be very difficult. It would take too long to draw. Or we can do a chibi thing. I think I'm gonna stick with a chibi thing. Maybe something smaller so I don't have to draw like the details in the costumes and stuff. Maybe something simplified like this. That's a little, this is a little Pepegi. I don't think I'm gonna draw something like this, but maybe something, yeah. Maybe like a few frames before something this. Okay, that's a little too much chibi going. You know, something really rudimentary, something like this. This type of shape. Get used to like, I'm not really good at drawing poses, like action poses. So I could like work on it. That's probably for tomorrow though. I really thought I was gonna be ambitious enough to do it today, but this is why I can't do artwork for a living. I do one piece and then I'm just done. Like I can't do anymore. That's it. That's it for today. I knew you were gonna make that remark. I heard it. You know, I heard it. And I'm like, Josh is gonna freaking pull the One Piece gag. Yes, One Piece is a lot. I mean, I get it. You would want to take a break after something like that? My freak. Josh, please. Not all of us watch One Piece and pretend like we don't like it. Alright? Alright? You heard me. Yeah, you heard me. I bet Josh is a big One Piece nerd. Thank you. Josh is totally a One Piece nerd. Hands up. Hands up. Alright. So tomorrow is anime day. So I do have to head off early today. And then I'll probably come back on the same time today. So around 9 p.m. my time. To do the prompt for tomorrow. When the sun sets. Sun sleeps like a normal person. When I mean a normal person, I mean he sleeps at night with circadian rhythm, not against circadian rhythm. You dropped it after 29 episodes? I think I've seen more than 29 episodes. I'll have to admit that. I think I saw the first 2 seasons. Is that like 50 episodes? Maybe? Were they 25 episodes each? Or 24, or maybe 23? It's close to 50, I guess. I'm pretty sure I saw 2 seasons. At least the anime. I think there was a time when they were celebrating their 300th episode or something. Someone was telling me, and like, okay. Alright. Fair enough. Fair enough. Alright. Alright, guys. Thanks for hanging out. You know, take care of yourself. Be mindful of yourself, you know. Enjoy your times. Remember when Tokyo Tower was celebrating One Piece anniversary? Oh yes, I did. I did see pictures of that. It was a big deal. It was like a moment, right? The big moment episode. They even had a teaser of a teaser, like an anniversary teaser of an anniversary teaser. Anyways, take care of yourself. All right. Stay safe, guys. Stay healthy. I'll see some of you tomorrow with the new prompt. All right. Take care. Bye now. That's like AMD announcing their announcements. All right. Do take care. Good luck with job hunting. Bye now.